No one really likes to hear no quite often. Well, I should say no one. Many people don't like to hear no, particularly if you are a real estate investor or someone who is s- connecting with people and seeing if they want to sell their property quite often at a discount. And that's actually what primarily my job is to do. And one of the ways I do that is by working with folks who are going through probate and estate planning, because quite often in the probate process, there's real estate or property that is quite often sold within the first 30 to 90 days. 70 to some odd percent of the property that's involved is sold because folks either want their inheritance or they want to be able to address any debt that's in there. Perhaps the will has told them they need to sell it, or many combinations of those reasons, and maybe even other reasons. And so I try to give value and I position myself as a probate specialist, offering support, offering help, and in the process, able to find leads. And I hear no quite often. I hear objections quite often. And it's not always fun at first, but as I continue to gain skills and to grow as a sales uh, in my sales skills, in my communication skills, in my negotiating skills, I've come to understand that actually hearing no is the start of the conversation. And hearing no can be a great opportunity to continue to dig deeper and to find out if there's any value that can be added. So hearing no and actually looking and seeking no can be very powerful. Jim Camp's great work, rest in peace, Jim Camp. Starting with No is a great book that I just read over and over again. Chris Voss also discusses how it's important that you give people the opportunity to say no. Many other spaces recognize the power in giving someone autonomy and the freedom to say no and recognizing that no is really the start and actually hearing a yes is shaky and a maybe is terrible and horrible. So let's look. This is more geared towards practitioners, people who are working with probate leads or data to be able to connect with personal representatives to see how they may be able to serve. And five really common responses that I hear and how I would encourage you to at least consider addressing them. All right. So you hear no. One thing, well, one, let's just go back. The probate process, if you are new to probate as a space where you can serve and find real estate leads and deals, probate is the process of settling the affairs of someone who's passed away. If you pass away with debt in your name or with properties in your name, there has to be a way to address to distribute those out and to address those debts. Or if you pass away with a will and there's specific state things that need to take place or you wish to take place, there has to be a way to do that, and that is the probate process, right? And so with all of these, you pretty much want to follow a 3 to 4 step approach. Quite often, you almost always want to be able to acknowledge what they said. I understand. Yes, great. That makes sense. All of those affirming, softening statements that show that you're listening and that you're paying attention, or that you validate, not really listening, but you validate. The second thing is more listening, which is definitely Priel's rapport. You can literally repeat exactly what was said, or a version of what was said to show that you're actively listening. And then you're going to provide a response. You're going to respond, sometimes answering the question, sometimes just coming back with a specific question to dig deeper. And that's exactly what responding is designed to do, to dig deeper. And you see I put here and or reverse. Reverse is you can call it a technique, but it is a tool for coming back with a question. This question, hopefully, is most often best suited to be an interrogative, open ended question. It begins with the noun who, how, what, as opposed to a yes or no question is, does, can, as opposed to starting with a verb, which leads to more of a yes or no and doesn't necessarily allow you to dig as deeper. And they're designed to continue to help. You have to situate your conversation in the world of the prospect, in the other person's world. And so asking those interrogative, open ended questions allows you to do that and allows them to see a vision of their challenges, their struggles, their pains, or lack thereof, and give them a picture of what they may need or may not need. And you can spend a lot more time being efficient and a lot more time being able to find value that you actually can present. So acknowledge, repeat, respond, and or reverse. A 3 R's, A triple R, however you want to remember. Okay, so let's look at the first common objection. We don't need help. We're doing the probate ourselves, okay? And this is no particular order, and this is not designed to be a script down the road, but I do encourage that if you are listening, maybe you practice one bullet at a time until you get it down, and then it's internalized and you can say it in your own way or variation. I also encourage you to not try to babble on, be as concise and empathetic as possible. And one thing that I've been learning, shout out to the role play team that I work with every morning, Kathy and Dan and Ben, they are awesome, is working on ending with a downtick as opposed with an uptick. I have a very hype personality, enthusiastic, and sometimes I end my sentences with uptick, but ending with a downtick is going to subconsciously convey comfort and convey competency. And so it's important that when you actually are your tone that you use, that you end with a downtick. That FM radio voice is so comforting, as Chris Voss would state from Never Split the Difference and all his work with the Black Swan Group. But anyways, we don't need help. We're doing the probate ourselves, Courtney. All right, that's great to hear. Acknowledgement. You don't need help right now. You're doing the probate yourself. Repeating. Well, what are your plans for the property? You know, that's reversal. Asking the question, what are your plans for property? Then you go from there. Or sounds good. Sounds like you're prepared for the probate on your own. That's restating it. May I ask, is there a property you'd be selling or do you plan to keep it in the family? All right, it's kind of started off with a verb like yes or no, may I ask? But then, as we talk, I asked, do you plan on selling or do you plan to keep it in the family? Get the conversation continue to go. Awesome. Sounds like you're prepared to do everything yourself. Well, how helpful would it be to have a free probate checklist to help you along the way? This is designed to hopefully be able to stay in communication with them and hopefully receive the email address from them so that you can continue to have the conversation and you're already showing the value that you can add. All right. Number two, we already have a realtor. There's a lot of people who work in the probate space who are agents, but there are a lot of folks who aren't agents or some who are hybrid. I'm not an agent at this time, and so I have no problem when someone says they are a realtor. But if you are an agent and you're looking for the listing, you still can have a conversation and continue that so that maybe you can build a relationship and show the value that you have. So awesome. You already have a realtor, and it sounds like you're good hands. How experienced is your realtor dealing with probate? And that gives you the opportunity to perhaps see where they are and see if they actually need some support with somebody who specializes in probate. Great, you already have your working with your realtor, I should say, working with you as a cash buyer. I may be able to make their job easier. Ideally, how soon would you like the probate to be property to be sold? That allows you to, if you need to get in contact with a realtor and present your offer, or maybe they haven't even signed a contract yet, and then you can see how they'll be able to keep more money in their pockets if they are able to do a cash deal, especially if they want to do it as is. That makes sense. You already have a realtor you're working with. How is the process going so far? And again, it's designed to continue the conversation. You're really probing for the pains and the challenges so that you can find out how that challenge or pain is impacting your life to see if you have any value or where you can be a part of the story to alleviate those pains or challenges or provide benefits. People don't buy the benefits, they buy the why. So you need to figure out why and what's going on. Objection number three, who are you? How did you get my information? Very common. So, yes, great question. My team is at the state office each week looking for probate files to find families we can help. How has the process been for you so far? Again, it's all in the tone, it's all in the flow of asking the questions so that it doesn't sound too rushed, but it also allows you to really remain in control. The person who's asking the question, who's speaking less, is the person who's actually controlling the flow of the conversation. And we have a skill to provide. It's like our duty to come help folks in these situations. So we need to be able to steer them in the right direction. And those the way we change the rotor is with the questions. Good question. I'm Courtney with the State Pro Service. We use public records to find people who may need help with real estate going through probate. How are you involved? How are you involved in the state of now that's a yes or no question so maybe I should change that but I like that because then it allows you to move on to another question. All right, well, will there be real estate that you'll be working with if you want to have the direct real estate approach? There's different approaches. Concierge service, where you're providing service, get direct to the real estate, or it really depends on what where you want to how you want to frame yourself. Well, I apologize if I caught you off guard. I'm a probate specialist. I access public data to check on people who may need help with probate. So, what are some of the biggest challenges you're facing so far? You face so far. All right. Objection number two: we have an attorney now. This is one I hear quite often. That's great. Many of my clients that I work with have attorneys, and found and I found it's very helpful on the non-legal side of probate. For example, what are your plans for the property? Or great, you already have an attorney. How has your experience with your attorney been so far? Again, that's some people have attorneys who don't necessarily specialize or do one or two probates every 2 years, and there may be some challenges, or maybe they haven't communicated with them. You might be able to provide some support and again open the door to have that conversation about the real estate. Awesome, you already have an attorney. How is the attorney supporting your probate needs, your property needs? That's a little worded, a little awkward, but I was trying to really get in and out. But how is the attorney supporting your property needs? Yeah, I like that. I like it. How's it going with? Yeah, that's basically asking about how is the attorney helping you sell the property. Yeah, I might even just say it plain as that. I figured keep it plain. Number five, we will call if we need anything. Don't call me, I'll call you. That's great to hear. Call me if you need anything. What days are you? What days are you in the process? What days? Oh, that must be a typo. How far along are you in the process? I'll need to change that. How far along are you in the process? And this also may be an opportunity to ask the checklist. Oh yeah, great. Feel free to call me if you need anything. In the meantime, how helpful would it be to have a free probate checklist to help you along the way? Great. It isn't this opportunity to get the email address. What's a good email address you can share with me so that I can send over the information? All right, so I need to update some of those. But those are pretty much five common objections that we hear. If you are a practitioner and you want to practice, I'm practicing Monday through Friday, every day from 8:15 to 8:45. I role play with a great group of folks. I suggest that you role play at least once or twice a week. Don't necessarily practice on these leads. They're valuable folks who need support, need help. So you need to bring as best you can your best prepared self to it. Of course, don't be scared. Don't let that be a stop you from doing it because the income generating and value giving practice is speaking to folks. So don't let that be an excuse, but definitely make sure that you're practicing. If you want to practice, reach out to me, calendly.com, Estate Pro Service. Let's sign up for a one on one and see how we can be a part of each other's journey. Other than that, this is Courtney Rollins with the State Pro Service in the Life and Transitions Experts Podcast. That's LITE. Let your light shine. Cheers.